All right, so we want to talk about some de-escalation strategies. What happens when we get there and it's already built up? They're already up here. What are we going to do? One of the things that we want to encompass in the Chattanooga Fire Department is the 5-point de-escalation strategy. All right, now this is be very, very easy to jot down on a piece of paper or a glove. If you had a gloved hand, 1 through 5, smiley face to frowny face, right? I know it sounds very, very simple, and it is. We're actually going to put these on fire trucks, but if you didn't have it, you could jot it down really quick. So you get somebody that's getting aggressive, or they're starting to feel like, you know, you're starting to notice that they're getting frustrated. You can break this out and you can say, hey, where are you? That's all you have to say. Where are you at on this chart? They're going to know what you're talking about. Okay? They do this, they go through therapy, they see this at therapy, they're going to know what you're talking about. You know, you break this out for Noah, I keep it on my phone. I say, hey Noah, where are you? He's going to say, I'm a 4. Every time. Because I'm not going to break it out if he's a 2, probably. You know, I don't have any reason to. But if I break it out and he says, I'm a 4, I'm going to say, all right, buddy, what can we do to get you down to a 2? What do you need? What's the problem? What's going on with you that we need to do to bring you down to a 2? And he's going to say, well, my iPad battery is dead, or I'm cold, or I'm this, or I'm that. And we're going to try to make the adjustments to do whatever it is to bring him down to a 2. And sometimes it works that simple, sometimes it doesn't. You know, like in the video, it was 9 o'clock at night. The only thing that would bring him down was to go outside and play. Well, going outside and play is not an option at 9 o'clock at night. So we have to just, you know, make adjustments. But if that's something that we can do, then, you know, it may work. It's a very simple thing to carry around, and it's a very simple thing to use. So just remember, ask them where they are and what can we do to get you down. We want you down around a 1 or a 2. Okay, so when they're escalating, if they get to a 5, the 5 is pretty much a meltdown. All right, a meltdown is also known as a neurological storm. Okay, what you saw in the video, Noah was working his way up to a meltdown. We had to de-escalate it before it got to a full meltdown. But if they get to a 5, that's the neurological storm, and they say that on a daily basis we use about 25% of our muscles. Right. Everybody's heard that. Everybody knows that. You go work out, they say you can access about 50% of your muscles. All right? They say that a police officer in the fight of his life, that 1 or 2 times that they ever have to, his life or my life, fighting for my life, can use 50% of his muscles for about 2 minutes. All right? And then you're done. You are spent. Once that's over, you have exhausted your energy. They say that someone during having a neurological storm or a meltdown can access 100% of their muscles for up to 30 to 45 minutes. All right? You see how important it is that we de-escalate this situation before it gets there. Because if you're in a situation where you have to try to restrain somebody, or you have to pull somebody out of a house fire, or something that is having a meltdown, you better bring the house, because it's going to take it. You wouldn't believe how strong a 50-pound 5-year-old can be in a meltdown situation. I mean, it's times where you have to lay on them, lay on top of them to get them, to try to keep them under control. You know, if it happens out in a parking lot or somewhere, which it usually does, you know, you're always out in public. You know, my wife and I are both right there on top of him, having to try to keep him from getting free and bolting. So neurological storms are definitely a challenge, and we're not talking about a kid that's having a fit. We're talking about, you know, a serious meltdown. Some people say they have a complete blackout. They don't even remember it. So keep that in mind. Incorporate that aggression into something appropriate if you can, like those push-ups. You know, if you can get them to go along with it, that's something that you can use. I know it sounds cliche. You heard my wife in those videos, maintain your calm. You know, she's great at it. Basically, they're going to feed off of you, right? They're going to receive that information that you're giving them, and they're going to use that as well. So when you get worked up, they're going to get more worked up. And that's me. I'm horrible at this. I am terrible at maintaining my calm. Usually, you know, I'll walk away and my wife will take care of it, just for that reason. You know, but it can be a challenge. It sounds cliche, but it's important to remember to maintain your calm. There was a car wreck in, I want to say it was Lafayette, North Carolina. And the mother was badly injured. The child was not. The child had autism. The mother was scared to death for this child. All right? So the child gets in the ambulance with the mother. The child is having a meltdown. There's 2 firefighters riding just to keep the little girl calm, okay, just to try to keep her from getting hurt while the medics are working. You can imagine what this ambulance looks like in the back of it. The mother says, "Sing Wheels on the Bus." Sing Wheels on the Bus to her. The firefighter started singing Wheels on the Bus, and she instantly calmed down. It was exactly what she needed to calm down. That was her de-escalation technique that worked. And they sang Wheels on the Bus all the way to the hospital. And it was a great example. It was great, it turned out great. So that absolutely could be the thing that helps them, that helps bring them down. It's just, it's different for everybody. That's the challenge. That's the challenge for this whole population. Temple Grandin went on record saying that if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And that's it. That's exactly what it is, because they're all so different. It's such a spectrum from one end to the other. All right, validating emotions and respecting the person before dealing with the behavior. So you've got people, this group of people who get invalidated on a regular basis, right? People don't give these people credit. They don't respect them for what they need to be, the way they need to be respected. So you walk in and you validate that behavior. I know this sucks. I know you don't want to do this. I know you feel like this is such and such, but if we can just come over here, if we can just do this, that may be exactly what they need. They may see that respect, that validation of who they are, and say, hey, this guy's all right. This guy's going to help me. We'll go over here and do this. You see what I'm saying? So validating their emotions may be exactly what they need to go along with whatever it is you're trying to get them to do. And physical restraints, if you have to, you have to. There are times when you'll have to restrain people. And, you do what you got to do. But we want to try to use, big blankets, turnout coats, weighted blankets, bear hugs, whatever you can do to try to restrain these people as safe as possible. Watch this video. The guy in the video that's talking was my mentor for this whole program. He's a great guy. His name's Bill Canada, and you'll see in the video how...
Back now at 8:52 with a program that aims to demystify autism for a very important group of people. Today, national correspondent Amy Robach is here to explain that. Amy, good morning.
Matt, good morning to you. And when it comes to an emergency, time is critical. The Autism Fire Rescue Program has educated over 15,000 first responders in how to handle people with autism. And as I found out, it is a mission that began very close to home for one fireman.
The best way to meet an emergency is to prepare.
Command of the hydrant, go ahead and charge that line.
Firefighters, police, and EMTs make the anticipation of the unexpected
a
regular part of their day. Ted Canada is 21 years old and living with autism. He cannot speak and is extremely sensitive to sight, sound, and touch.
People with autism follow a routine, and if that routine is broken, this is where the confusion begins with a lot of them, and they don't know what to do. They don't understand what to do.
A longtime firefighter, Bill Canada, is Ted's devoted dad. Their relationship has led the father down an unexpected path to educator.
He's my best teacher. He shows me everything, and this is what I do, is just convey that message to other first responders.
In seminars across the country, Canada provides the keys to identifying a person with autism and the solutions for helping them to safety.
And they can just, one, be out of control or aggressive. Another situation, they can have a regression, completely shut down. People with autism have left a burning building, but because of the confusion, went back in because that's their safety. Or some people will run away.
There are 1.5 million Americans with autism, and that number is growing by the hour. So the chances that this firehouse will encounter a person with autism on their next call is growing by the day.
Soon after a training session with Canada, Bill Turner found a child with autism at the scene of a house fire.
He was running around outside, totally out of control. So I go to grab the young boy going by, and I got him, and he started pounding me on the chest. And he was just beating me like he was going to beat me to a pulp.
Really, he was doing it because he was very excited to see him. Probably his gear, the reflective tape, is very attractive. Shiny things can be attractive to people with autism.
And I remembered that the class had taught me that if I put my arms around him and put him kind of in a bear hug, that he will simmer down.
Bill gave him a bear hug and gave him that deep squeeze, and he settled down immediately. So it was perfect. It was a perfect scenario to keep him safe until his parents could take care of him.
When you got home, what did you tell your wife?
I probably told her I was some kind of hero or something. You're going to play all the cards you can when you get home, you know.
As these firemen prepare for the worst, their toolkit includes the best knowledge Bill Cannata can give.
You all got into these fields to save lives.
We did, yeah, right. And this is just something we can learn that will help them through this type of situation. And that's what we want to do. We want to do the right thing.
All right, so that was that proprioceptive stimuli that when he gave that boy that deep squeeze, you know, it triggered that proprioceptive stimuli, and that's what he needed to calm down. So just keep that in mind. Those are that's a good technique most of the time. Not everybody. Just remember. So what can we do as first responders? One thing we need to remember is turn down the radio. You know, sound is very, you know, could be a big trigger for some of these guys. So you got 5 or 6 guys standing around, and all of you have your radios turned up, and they're all scanning. They're picking up every station within 100 miles of here, you know, and it's just blasting away. That could be a trigger for somebody. So keep your radios, you know, turned down. Remove from flashing lights. Minimize number of people. Reduction of noise, shouting. Get rid of non-essential personnel, and make sure that wherever you put them is away from some exhaust, so you don't have that. Also, what I like to tell people, when you get on a house fire, we've all been on a number of house fires. Every single house fire I've ever been on, you get one of the neighbors or 2 of the neighbors or 10 of the neighbors coming up, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Well, yeah, we've got this kid with autism over here that needs a place to stay. Can we put him in your house? If you are on the scene of a house fire, if you are the IC, even on the scene of a car accident, and you see someone like he was talking about, a young boy running around that looks like he may have a developmental or an intellectual disability, you better put somebody with him. All right? I don't care what personnel looks like. I don't care any of that. He needs to be a priority because he is just as likely to run out into the woods or go climb a tree that's 100 feet tall or wander off down behind the house and find a pool somewhere, all right, while nobody's paying attention. If there's somebody there that needs attention, you better make it a priority. So just keep that in mind. Look for triggers, all right? I could be walking along with Noah. We could be having the best day of our lives. Everything could be hunky-dory. We could be skipping and singing. And I say, hey, buddy, remember that time? And he will freak out, absolutely lose it. The word remember is a trigger for Noah. He hates it. He can't stand it. We have to do everything in our power to avoid it. I have no idea why, but it's the truth. So you may be talking to someone, you may be dealing with somebody, and you stumble across something, a word, a touch, anything in the world, and it trigger a response. We need to try to remember those and avoid them at all costs. And if we pass that person off to EMS or whoever else, we need to let them know, hey, he doesn't like the word remember. Try not to say it. Avoid it at all costs. Those are the kinds of things that you need to remember. Give processing time, one question at a time. We talked about that a little bit. Identify alternate methods of responding. They may point instead of talking to you. They may point, you say, hey, what hurts? And they point to their big toe or whatever. That may be how they answer. They may be nonverbal. They may not respond at all. They may just comply. They may just do what you tell them to do. Or tell him versus her. So you got somebody like, Charlie asking the questions, and they get scared to death, and then Terry walks up, and they'll talk to her. You know, it may be a him versus her. A big burly guy is scary versus a female who may be more gently talking, or whatever. It may be easier for them to talk to. So just remember, I'm trying to say that as nice as I can without, you understand what I'm saying. Y'all get the point. It could be a him versus her situation. So just keep that in mind. First then, we use this at our house every single day. This is one of the greatest tools that I could recommend. If I need to get Noah to brush his teeth or I need to get Noah to do something, but he has something else that he wants to do. We have that preferred versus unpreferred agenda. So I want him to go brush his teeth. Hey, buddy, go brush your teeth. No, I want to play on my iPad. First brush your teeth, then you can have your iPad. I'll give you 5 more minutes on your iPad. He knows that if I go in here and do what he's asked me to do, then I can have this time on my iPad. See, I can get what I want. So that falls back into that concreteness, that routine that he's looking for and he craves. And that may be just exactly what it takes to get him to do what you want him to do. Slow impulse control related to ADD and ADHD type characteristics, the slow speech or processing time. We talk about this as crossing multiple diagnoses. So all of these things that you see with with ADD or autism or Down syndrome or any of those things can all cross multiple diagnoses. So it's not just one thing that goes along with one diagnosis. Executive function. This is a big deal. Help the child or person solve the problem. That's a big deal. That goes back to validating emotions. You know, you talk about people who have been invalidated their whole lives, and now you say, hey buddy, you know, how can we fix this? What do we need to do to make this better? That executive function could be the thing, hey, this guy's different. You know, this guy is helping me versus this guy is making me do something. See what I'm saying? So that could be the one thing to help de-escalate the whole situation, just giving them that respect and showing them that you're not just there to force them to do things, you're there to actually help. And then we use social stories. This is another big thing that you see these people using in therapies a lot. They'll have specific stories that go along with specific events, say going to the dentist. You know, you may have, it looks like a cartoon strip. You'll have a person that walks into the dentist's office. The next frame, they'll be sitting in a dentist chair with the dentist looking in their mouth. The next frame, they're getting a toothbrush and they're leaving. You know, the next frame, they're getting in the car, whatever. You know, it shows the concreteness. It shows them exactly what that person's going to be doing. And this is what one of those look like. You know, sometimes I feel frustrated or upset. It's okay, I stop and calm down. You see the pictures that go along with each of those words. My work doesn't have to be perfect, I just need to try and do my best. This goes back to like what I was saying about Emily, you know, not knowing what to do. So imagine you have somebody who has a developmental or an intellectual disability that's trying to learn something new at school, trying to do homework, and they can't figure it out. And that could be a great source of frustration for them or a great challenge for them. So this would be really easy to jot down. I know y'all probably carry a scratch pad on the fire truck just like we do. You know, it'd be real easy to jot something down. Nothing else is working. Jot down a picture of a kid, somebody getting in an ambulance, going to the hospital, going to see the doctor, whatever. You know, use a social story to go along with what you need them to do. Use obsessions to your advantage. A lot of these guys, lots and lots of these guys have obsessions, things that they are absolutely profound, have profound knowledge of some of these things that will absolutely blow your mind. For Noah, I told you it's helicopters. This was a year and a half ago. He's still into helicopters. This is over on the roof of Erlanger with, that's the CEO of Children's. We took a flight over Life Force for Autism Awareness Month. It was great, probably the single greatest day of his life. He absolutely loved it. For Emily, she has no use for her lower extremities. She loves to ride horses. Imagine that. You know, that's her thing. That's what you can get her talking about. Just like we were talking about in the video with Henry. You know, he was saying shapes over and over. That's all he would say. And then the man started naming shapes, and he started naming things to go along with those. So you see how you can kind of work your way in and progress the conversation towards what you want to get to know, or the information you're trying to get out of them. Thomas the Train, for whatever reason, a lot of people in this population are huge fans of Thomas the Train. Noah was for many years. And then as the kids get older, Pokemon Go. They love it, absolutely love it. So, you know, you can use these things to try to work your way in. That's getting in on their level like we talked about, entering their world. Give control when you can. Choices within parameters. You can climb in the ambulance, or I can put you in the ambulance. Which would you prefer? That goes back to that executive function, more of that. When your child is having a meltdown, remember it's their crisis, not yours. Breathe deeply, calm yourself, then use a quiet voice, gentle hands to guide your little one through their crisis. That's living what you want them to learn. And we talked about that, maintaining your calm, how important that is. I know it sounds cliche, but it is very, very important. All right, so what are we doing in Chattanooga? What are we doing on our fire trucks? This is it. You can see it over here, the Legos. And it's not going to be a big box like this. We're going to take these out, put them in bags, and put them in small bags like this that we can roll up and make probably about this big. We'll find a place to put them on fire trucks. We're going to have Play-Doh, Hot Wheels. A lot of these guys are big fans of Hot Wheels. You'll put that on there. Koosh balls, crayons, coloring books, and stickers. All right, we're going to make sensory kits. Think about it. You're at a house fire. Someone in that house has autism. Their sensory kit is inside the house. What can we do as a fire department? Well, now we have something. We go to the truck. We get out our sensory kit. We give them the Legos. We give them whatever. You know, whatever they need, however they need to get through that situation. This is going to help de-escalate that situation. We're working on some weighted blankets and scarves and things. Those are a little more expensive, but there's some people that are wanting to help us that are working on that. Another thing that we're doing is called a tips manual. And this is a tips manuals for first responders. It was developed out of the University of New Mexico off a federal grant. So it's free. It's free to download. Anybody can go to their website, find it, print it off. Chattanooga Firefighters Association is buying these as well as the kits. We're going to spiral bound them, and we're going to put that de-escalation chart on the back of it and put them on fire apparatus so that you guys can have it. If you don't remember what we talked about, you can go whenever you run across somebody who has Down syndrome or something like that. You can look up the cognitive disabilities on the front, go to the page that correlates with that, and it'll help you get through that. So that can be a very, very, very big, very nice tool to have out there on the street.